In previous videos, I have closely followed the UK and Canadian petitions advocating CANZUK to their respective governments, with the UK one even of course reaching the 10,000 signatures needed and receiving a response from the British government, the Canadian one closing mid-October, so I will keep you updated on that. But the reason for this video is to announce that the Discord server CANZUK Outreach has successfully launched a petition to the Australian government, calling for a strengthening of ties with the other CANZUK nations and serves as a crucial first step for getting the CANZUK movement off the ground down under. So in this video I'll be going over the petition and what exactly it calls for, which even if you are not Australian, tag along with me because it lays out a really interesting first step towards CANZUK. And it goes without saying, if you are Australian and want CANZUK to happen, that being of course the proposed alliance or union between Canada, Australia, New Zealand and the United Kingdom over free trade, freedom of movement and a common coordinated military and foreign policy, go and sign this petition. I'll link it down in the description. So the first thing to mention here is that the CANZUK Outreach server have deliberately tailored this petition to act as the first steps to CANZUK. One of the criticisms, of course, of the UK petition being that it jumped straight to calling for a union between the countries rather than laying out a roadmap or some practical, tangible first steps. The new Australian petition does exactly this, the first steps. So let's jump straight in. This is e-petition EN7784, titled Strengthen Ties with New Zealand, Canada and the United Kingdom, and says, quote, "We, the citizens of Australia, call upon the Australian government to explore closer ties with New Zealand, Canada and the United Kingdom. These are nations with which we share a common language, legal traditions, democratic values and deep cooperation through Five Eyes, AUKUS, the Commonwealth and the CPTPP. There is growing support for deepening ties between these countries, often referred to as CANZUK, through practical phased agreements that unlock shared benefits while preserving national autonomy and security. The existing Trans-Tasman Travel Arrangement, TTTA, demonstrates that mobility agreements can succeed without compromising sovereignty. While we do not propose replicating this model wholesale, it offers a valuable reference point for developing new frameworks. The petition request therefore asks the House to 1. Launch formal consultations with New Zealand, Canada and the UK to explore a mobility and security pact. 2. Prioritise labour mobility for university graduates and skilled professionals, including mutual recognition of qualifications. 3. Promote trade, lower tariffs, reducing reliance with increasingly hostile nations, and align regulation to foster innovation and investment. 4. Develop a scalable youth mobility initiative as a first step towards broader cooperation. 5. Recognise full free movement as a long-term objective for participating citizens. 6. Strengthen joint efforts in defence, research and space cooperation, including participation in the UK's 6th generation fighter programme. And 7. Australia has a unique opportunity to help shape a modern alliance grounded in shared values, trust and strategic independence in a changing world. Some brilliant first steps there. I agree with all of these. I think it is laid out in a really clear manner, the way that they have laid out this petition, to not call for jumping straight in at the deep end for a union, but instead laying out these really valuable first steps here is amazing. Now, it is worth pointing out that there are at the moment at least 7 petitions in the Australian Parliament that directly mention CANZUK, and while this is a good show of grassroots support, I do think that this particular petition is the very best of the lot. It is the most clear and has the most succinct points that it wants to lay out here, the first steps towards this potential CANZUK alliance. The closing date for this petition is on the 1st of October, so there is less than a month left now to get your signatures in. It is not sponsored by any particular Australian politicians like the Canadian one is, so this really is all grassroots action. The way these e-petitions work in Australia is that once they are closed for signatures, it will then be presented to the House of Representatives, Australia's version of the British House of Commons, the lower house, and this presentation is usually done by the Petitions Committee Committee chair each Monday that the House meets. There is opportunity to request another Member of Parliament to present the petition, but I'm not sure whether that is an option just yet. But as far as I'm aware, the next time the House of Representatives is meeting is the end of October. But any Aussies can, of course, correct me on that one if not. If the petition reaches 50 or more signatures, it will be referred to a minister who is then asked to provide a written response to the request contained within the petition, and I think that is absolutely achievable within a month. As if there is a response then to this petition, this will also be viewed by the Petitions Committee, which usually meets each week that the House of Representatives meets, and after they've looked at the response, that response is then also presented to the House, again done by the Petitions Committee chair, and is subsequently published to the e-petition website, which of course I'll link below, and I will put a QR code up on screen as well, so if you're Australian, please go and sign it. It really does a bit of a back and forth, but positive if it reaches the required 50, that it will be seen by a minister of the Australian government, presumably one relating to foreign affairs, and then also presented of course to the Australian House of Representatives, which is significant regardless of the official response to the petition, because not only does it spread the word about CANZUK to the wider population, bringing it up in national and political discourse also shows Australian politicians that it is politically palatable and informs them of what CANZUK actually is. You can then see a situation where more Australian politicians could start publicly supporting CANZUK as an idea, which would be incredibly valuable and something we are already seeing happen over in Canada too. So if you are Australian and want to contact your local MP and urge them to support this petition separately as well, or support CANZUK in general, then I will leave a link in the description to the list of currently serving MPs, which includes all the different ways that you can contact each of them, has it on their pages. Now, CANZUK Outreach have said they are planning to message MPs themselves, but more organic public inquiry might also increase politicians' willingness to pursue or promote this petition. They also suggested mentioning that a similar New Zealand petition is in the works from the same team. You know, this CANZUK Outreach server is really putting an incredible amount of work into getting the message out about CANZUK. They've already funded advertising programs, and I will leave a link to the server if you would like to join it and get some more grassroots momentum going. Hopefully we can get this over the line eventually, but they are doing some incredible work, as I say, loads of different channels and ways you can get involved. So I will definitely leave a link to that in the description as well, the Discord server. So that about wraps up what I wanted to talk about today, the Australian petition, going over what it's all about. I really like the way they've laid this out so clearly. Particularly, I like that they have started with launching formal consultations with New Zealand, Canada and the UK, not jumping straight into form a union, because of course that's going to be just straight dismissed, as it was in the UK, essentially was dismissed. It was all of that political jargon that we saw, so that's good. And it is also positive that this petition lays out some similar points to the one over in Canada, which is sponsored by the Canadian MP for Ontario, Evan Baker. He's a member of the Canadian Liberal Party, the same party as the Prime Minister Mark Carney over there, and some similar things like recognising full free movement as a long-term objective, and also the mutual recognition of qualifications. I think that is a particular one that is really, really valuable and a real tangible benefit that people will feel of CANZUK. So overall, an amazing petition. I'll stop droning on about it now. But yes, if you are Australian, make sure to go and sign it. And I hope if you're not Australian and you've continued watching to the end here, you're the real legends. Thank you very much, and let me know your thoughts on this petition down below. Also, as I mentioned in the recent teaser video, we have a very special video coming very soon, a proposal about CANZUK military integration, very detailed proposal with a special guest. So make sure you subscribe and turn notifications on so you know when that drops, because it is a very special video indeed. And put any questions about CANZUK military integration you might have in the comments down below, and my special guest and I can answer them in a separate video. But as always, thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please slap a like and subscribe on it. There are a few other ways to support me down in the description as well. You can buy me a coffee to keep me powered making these videos. But as always, your view is enough for me. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the next one.